We'll do it live! Fuck it! Do it live!
Welcome to the Mouthpiece, episode 94. Today we're going to talk about what we always talk about. Football, poker, baseball playoffs, politics, and whatever the fuck else you guys want to talk about. The Mouthpiece is next. What up, everybody? How's it going? Welcome to the Mouthpiece. Another week has gone by. It feels good to be back doing the Mouthpiece every week. Kind of let you all in on what's going on in my life, what's going on in the world, what's going on in the poker world. The Bellagio 5 Diamonds in town. I think the main event starts in 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe a week. I don't know. Don't think I'm going to play. I played WSOP.com 2K the other day. Played for 5.5 hours. Finished 57th out of, I don't even know, 1763 or something. Got it in Ace Queen versus Ace King. Ace Queen of Diamonds versus Ace King of Hearts. Flop came 2 diamonds. Of course, I would never hit that. I win that one. I would have been 18th out of 57. And the guy who beat me doubled up and then was the chip leader when I last looked, because he probably won, because most people who beat me end up winning tournaments. I think I made a mistake. I had grinded my way from 10 to 20 big blinds really without much of a hand. And I had won 3 in a row, so I kind of got a little frisky. Guy raised under the gun +1, and I ripped 20 bigs with Ace Queen of Diamonds. I think I should have just called. If I call, comes Jack 8-5. I'm going to fucking bet real big on the flop and probably take it because he has no pair, no draw on the flop. So, I just feel that maybe I made a mistake there. Like Phil said, when you're playing in a regular tournament, are you going to rip 20 big blinds with Ace Queen to an under the gun +1 raiser? And the answer is no. So, I thought it was a mistake. Of course, the GTO people say, oh, it's just a standard rip. Okay, whatever. That's why I win and they don't. So, yeah, I got lots of info on the what's going on in the hustler thing, but I really can't talk about it. Everybody really wants to believe. We're not going to really touch so much on this today. I mean, we'll take some calls on it. We're 3 weeks in and everybody's still talking about, is she guilty? Is she innocent? I am a believer that you're innocent until proven guilty.'s always said that. With that said, I have friends who are lawyers, and they both said if this was they were to take it to trial as a circumstantial evidence case, that she would be found guilty. And, polygraph tests don't mean shit. I've said this before. In 2004, they took a polygraph test that if I had any knowledge that I was selling drugs or if I had ever sold drugs for profit, which I had never done in my whole life. I had never even sold a drug in my whole life. I was coerced by an undercover officer that was my doctor, because I used to party, to go out and find his buddy, an undercover officer, drugs. And I failed the polygraph test, and I was telling 100% the truth. So polygraph tests don't mean shit. The fact she turned over her phone records is very important. But what does the phone records have to do if she DMs him on Twitter and says, hey, can you write this message out for me and make you look good and make me look good? they need to go through the, all of her Twitter feeds, her Twitter DMs, and there just would have to be so many more things. No, it's been 3 weeks. It's been 3 weeks since this thing happened. But listen, I was 100% sure when I first saw it. My instincts screamed, "There's no way there wasn't cheating." Like I said, then I got convinced by so many poker players of why it wasn't, and they made a lot of sense. And I was all on board with that, but it's just too many there's no such thing as coincidences. Like, I want to know one person. I want somebody to call me on the show today that have ever heard anybody even use in a sentence "wouldn't not." Okay? It's never, I 54 years on this earth, I don't know one person who's ever used the word "wouldn't not." And you're trying to tell me that the two people in the height of the investigation just happened to be texting and DMing each other, and both in the sentence used the word "wouldn't not." Okay? Now, if she was to say, "Well, I'm so innocent that I wanted this guy to come forward and just say I didn't say it because I know for sure that I didn't cheat," and then she DM'd him to write a sentence, why she would do that with a guy who stole $50,000 off her and she's never met would make zero sense. But you could say that. To say that it's just a coincidence that two people wrote that are just, come on, people. Are you guys just that stupid? I mean, really? Really? I mean, come on. Come on. You can't be that stupid, And now, Julie's another situation. I don't want to talk about Julie because I have my own opinions of her. When I went public and said she was shit-faced on drugs or on alcohol, nothing was said. 14 days later, now she admits she was drunk or whatever she was on. But I don't know. Honestly, I'm done with it. I want to talk about my week in poker. Last night was truly one of the most interesting sessions of poker I've played in probably over a year. We're going to get to that right now. So last night, like an idiot, I decide, because in case anybody doesn't know, there's a worldwide Adderall shortage, and I'm been waiting for over 2 weeks for my Adderall, and I still have 9 more days to make it through. So basically, I usually take 15 to 30 milligrams a day. I've been taking 7.5 milligrams a day, sometimes 15. And last night I jumped in the game, and I decided to not take my Adderall. That was the dumbest mistake I ever made. And I had a brain fart, and it was really bad. So I would open one of the really great human beings, Ben. He plays on Hustler Casino Live. Asian guy Ben plays real high stakes. He's a lot of action. He 3-bets me. He's been 3-betting me like at least 75% of the time. Luda, who also plays on Hustler Casino Live, 4-bet it. He'd been 4-betting him a lot because they know that when they 3-bet, he usually doesn't have shit, and then they know that he usually doesn't have shit, so then they 4-bet. And I have usually a marginal hand like 10s or 9s or ace jack, so I can't really call like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 four bets, especially when I'm only 10K deep. So this was just some absolutely ridiculously horrifying play I made. And again, it was because I wasn't on my Adderall. So I raised 140. Next guy makes it 890. Luda makes it 5,888, which to me just didn't make any sense. I didn't understand why he would four bet so big. And I had 2 nines. And this is like, and I just decided to take a stand, and I moved all in 10K, and he had 2 jacks. The key to that hand is you don't have a quarter in the pot. You have $140 in the pot. Find a better spot. Be patient. The fact that I was off Adderall, it made me do this. So now I rebuy, and I put 20 on the table. Get stuck another 4,000. Grind back to where I'm only about 9K loser. So basically, I'm down. I'm up $1,000 minus the 10K I punted. And I feel like I'm playing really well. Now, another player who also plays in the Hustler Casino live stream opens for $80 under the gun. I mean, the guy has never opened for 80 ever one time in the month he's been playing in the game. 5 people call 80. An aggressive player on the button makes it 688. And I just know he has nothing. But I flat call with 2 sevens. The under the gun 80 makes it 2,500. And I wasn't buying it. I mean, I just wasn't buying it. I just didn't believe he had aces, kings, queens, jacks, tens, or any big pair. I just didn't buy it. So I just decided to rip 20,000. And he called, and he had ace, king. And the flop come 5-5-9, ace on the river. The bottom board come deuce 6-6, ace on the turn. So I lost the flip on both boards and was stuck 30,000. That's the most I've ever been stuck in this game in probably almost 2 years. So I then rebuy for the max. And it was a little disappointing because you're 4-1 favorite after the flop and you lose both flips, 4-1 favorite. In hindsight, I know that this person's been playing really tight, but when he's stuck, he does these things, and he knows the guy on the button doesn't have anything, and he knows when I flat call, I'm not supposed to have anything. So his 2,500 is just going to be a normal bet. I just didn't buy it, but I was right, but I was wrong. You know, I mean, but if they're going to call 25,000 with ace king against me, who's usually one of the tightest players in the game, definitely one of the top 3 tightest players in the game, then hey, you know, that's good information, because next time I'm going to do the exact same thing when I have aces or kings, and he's going to put 20,000 in, almost dead. So I got stuck 30. Then a hand came up where I went back 9, and I wish he would have shoved because I was calling. He raised. It goes like 4 limpers. Player makes it like 380, or 3 limpers. Player makes it like 380, and so that's, to me, that's like almost a 10x. I didn't think he was very strong. I make it 1,000 with 2 tens, and everybody folds, and he calls. Flop come down. Jack 8-4, 2 spades. Check to me, I bet 1,000. I get check raised to 2,400 or 2,600, and I call. And I said to myself, he's got it. He's 100% on a spade draw or a straight draw, 9-10 or spades. I don't believe he has a set of 8s or a set of 4s here. I just didn't believe his sizing. So, and I played with the player a lot. I've got a pretty good feel for him. Turn card comes a jack, and he goes 5,600. And I said to myself, there's no way he's sizing 5,600 when the jack comes, because what jacks am I three betting? Again, being one of the more tighter players on the table, why would he go so big? And I made up my mind, I'm calling, and I don't care what comes. If it's as long as it's not a spade, I'm calling. And if I lose 30 in this hand, I'm going to lose 60K, which would be my biggest loss in about 6 years, and I'm going to go to bed. And so I called, and the river came in 8. There's 4, 2 8s, and 2 jacks on the board. And he decided to shut down, and I checked back, and he had the king 9 of spades. So my read was dead right. You know, he kept asking me, he asked me 30 minutes later, would I have called an all-in? And I told him, and you guys know me, how much I care about Flash. I said, I swear on Flash's grave, I was calling. I had made up my mind. I was calling as long as the spade didn't come. So, again, after I took the Adderall, I really kind of locked in. I really played some really great hands. A hand came up, under the gun, raised 200. I made it 1,000, ace king of hearts. The same person who had the ace king of clubs when I had the 7s, flat calls 1,000. And at this point, I put him on jacks or queens. I just did. He's playing really tight. He's a solid player. Really don't want to mention the name, but he plays on Hustler Casino also. The person who raises under the gun then makes it 4,000. Now, this guy never, ever, ever 4-bets me without a big pair, because they think I'm so tight. They have no idea, but they think I'm so tight. And so I said to myself, he 100% has aces or kings. I know it. I fold it. And now the other person who called 1,000 calls the 3,000 more. Flop came 5-5-9. It went check, bet, raise, all in. The guy had kings or aces had kings. The other guy who didn't get my read had queens, and he got stacked. So that was a pretty big fold by me. It really catapulted me into a really good position. I started playing a lot of pots. I usually don't play deep for many reasons. I don't like losing big, and I don't like swinging so big. I like, kind of grinding 6,000, 7,000, 8,000, 12,000, 8,000. It's just how I like to play. That's just my style. But playing deep, I really forgot how good I really could play. And I really got comfortable. And I realized when you play deep, you can really put pressure on some people, especially when you have a good image. So it went raise, call, and I don't want to say the info I have on these players, but I have a good feel for how they play. I decided to make it 1,300 out of the middle blind with Jack 10 of diamonds. First raiser calls, or the first raiser folds. The next person calls. Now the flop comes down deuce, 6, 10 rainbows. There's 2,800 in the pot. I go for 1,250. I think it was. What was it? Let's see. 13, 26, 28. 28 in the pot. I went for like 1450. Almost half. I went half pot. And I get min raised. And I just say, and this guy's stuck a lot. And so he does weird things when he's stuck. And I'm just like, I'm not buying this at all. So I call. And now the turn card comes at ace. And I check. And he just moves all in for 15,000. And I'm like, this doesn't feel right. I mean, like, it looks like when I raise And now I call the min raise, and now the ace hits because it looks like I have a pair of jacks, queens, or kings. And when I check, or it could even be aces, when I check, why would he move in for 15,000? I said to myself, this makes no sense. I used 2 time banks. I called. He had king queen. I held both boards, and lo and behold, I was out in front $3,000 for the day. Ended up winning $1,575, which is really, really nice because I punted the first 10. You could say I punted the other 20 with the 7s. And I played my heart out and made some great folds and great calls. So this was, I let this screen go off again, Danny. I don't know why I did this. Oh, there, it's back on. And so that was my poker night, pretty happy the way I played. I really locked in, and I got in the zone. I had not been in the zone, like the true zone in this game in probably a year. I mean, I've played great. I play good and play great every day, but I really got into the zone. So that was really good. So I'm sitting about $7,000 winner for the week, which is it's not small. It's a small win for this game, but I don't play that many hours anymore, and I just like the fact that I was able to grind out playing really good. So poker's been good. I've now booked 1, 2, 3, 4 straight winning weeks. I had a little bit of a sideways for a while where after I had won a lot of fucking, I told you guys I don't really want to keep bragging or bringing it up, but I had won many weeks in a row, and then I had the 1 month where I lost 2 out of 4 weeks and had a break-even month, and bringing back 4 winning weeks in a row is pretty positive. So playing good, not really putting in that many hours. I played like I said, I told you about the 2K. I played at WSOP. That's 5.5 hours I'll never get back. Yeah, things are good in the poker world. In the sports world, switch over to sports. I think the NFL needs to get rid of Thursday games. They are an embarrassment. They are a disgrace. They are absolutely pathetic. They are always been pathetic. They had 3 or 4 good games last year. Ever since they put Thursday's games in for the last 3 years, they've been mostly pathetic. Now, I have 4 15-win contest cards and 1 12-win contest cards out of 25. So I'm 15-10 on 4. And my best one being 17-8 at Circa, which puts me 4 games back, 5 games into the season. So we could put a 5-0 together this week or next week. Go 9-1 or 10-0. Maybe we pick up 3 games and we're tied for first. So it's listen, I'm glad I did this contest because as much as I've lost in sports, it's not because of my knowledge. I am very, very knowledgeable. It's because I tilt. It's just like people who play poker. I know some of the most talented poker players in the world that are broke because they tilt. And in poker, I never tilt. In sports, I tilt. So, it's very important to not tilt. And because I don't bet anymore, and when I say I don't bet anymore, people like, oh, well, you bet 1,000 on this game or you bet 1,000 on that game. If I like a game, 1 game a week, I'll bet 1,000 on it. Okay? And I could do that the rest of my life. When I say I don't bet sports anymore, I don't go and look for bets to make so I can sweat games. Okay? That's betting sports. You guys understand that? So, That's really the most important thing. So, like, give you an idea. The baseball playoffs have been going on. I've bet on 2 games. I bet Atlanta game 2 against the Phillies and under in that game. Atlanta was a must-win game at home. I feel that they are the World Series favorites. They had a 3-hour rain delay. There was humidity in the air. I didn't feel the ball would travel. I laid $1.40 with Atlanta for 1,000, and I went under -120 for 7.5 for 1,000, and I won both of those. Those are the 2 bets I've made. I had last week my pick of the week, Saints, that everybody was on the other side. I bet 1,000 on that. I had the Monday night game, the Raiders, plus 7.5. I had 1,000 on that. Why did I have 1,000 on the Raiders? The Raiders were going into a bye week. They were 1-4. If they win, they're 2-3, and they're 1 game behind Kansas City with a tiebreaker. They're going into a bye week happy. They were bringing it. They were bringing it all. Kansas City was coming off beating the Super Bowl champs in a revenge game from 2 years ago, and they had Buffalo on deck next week, which is now this week, and I just felt it was the absolute perfect spot. And I thought the Raiders were going to win outright. I almost made a money line bet at plus 285, and they should have won outright. Look how they gave this game away. Okay, they get the absolute atrocity of a call on the strip sack, roughing the passer bullshit, and then they give them a free 3 points before half, and that ends up being the game. Take not only the 3 free points before half, but how about you stop them on 4th and 14, and you get called for a call that's only been called once in 20 years, defensive holding on the field goal kick that the guy missed? There's 10 points. They lost by 1. Raiders are 1-4, easily could be 5-0 or 4-1, but they are what their record is. In this NFL, every game comes down to one play. Look at that piece of shit game last night. Like, Washington had full control. The idiot misses a field goal. They let Justin Fields run 40 yards. He's first and goal at the 6. And the defense made 2 great plays to save the game. You know, everything comes down to a play. I mean, if they make, by the way, I had Washington. I wanted them on all my cards, but I can't put them on the Thursday card because you got to understand what the injury reports are. But I think most of the injury reports are all in already. So I should have gambled and put Washington. I loved Washington yesterday. I didn't bet it. But I liked him in my pick'em contest. I put him as my number 8. Anyways, yeah. The NFL is something. Now, this week is a very interesting set of games. I liked Washington as my number 1 pick. I know of 2 games I'm betting. I had Arizona last week. They lost by 3 to Philly. I had them because I thought Arizona really needed the game. Philadelphia had Dallas on deck. I didn't know it really wasn't that an important game for them as long as they beat Dallas this week. So even though they got out 14-0, they're very lucky to win that game. They won that game because Kyler Murray slid. I don't understand how he could slide before the first down. And the guy can't make a 43-yard field goal. He shouldn't even be in the NFL. So, you know, that's just, how do we get rid of these spammers there, buddy?
Yeah, I just got them.
All right. Anyways, I think Seattle's pathetic. I think they have the worst defense in the league. I don't believe that Geno Smith can keep putting up 32 a week. That's just my opinion. I mean, they're like number 3 offensive team. All right. Well, they're going to give up 30, okay? They're going to give up 30. Seattle given up 30 every week. The NFL still has Seattle's win total at 5.5, even though they're 2-2. They're 2-3. That's what they think of them. So I'm taking Arizona as my number 1 pick. I don't know. I just don't think Seattle has a defense. I don't think much of them at all. I really don't. I might be wrong. I'm also going with Buffalo. It's the revenge game from last year. Buffalo's got all their defensive guys back. Even Ladamarius White's supposed to come back this week after off the ACL injury. If he's back, I'm definitely taking Buffalo. It's going to be a heck of a game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. So those are the two I'm looking to. Oh, and the one other game I'm looking to on all my cards is Dallas plus 6.5. I don't understand this line whatsoever. Dallas legitimately has a top 3 defense in the league. Buffalo, San Francisco, and Dallas, 3 best defenses. Now, Frisco stayed on the road in West Virginia from last week. They didn't come home. They've been on the road for 2 weeks. They're laying 5.5 on the road. They lost another offensive lineman and their 3 best defensive players and their running back is out. These are massive injuries. So many people are leaning towards Frisco in this game because of all the injuries that Atlanta has. But Atlanta plays hard. I mean, they were down 21-0 to Tampa last week. And, if it wasn't for the bullshit Brady call, they might have won that game. So, will Joe Biden start World War III? 100% he will. 100% he will. Everybody's starving in the streets. Nobody can afford their power. Nobody can afford gas. All for the U.S. proxy war with Russia. You guys don't understand what an evil empire is. And it ain't just Joe Biden. The fucking Republicans are in on it too. Okay? They all work for the war machine and their fucking profits. So, just being honest. You know what I mean? You can't just say Joe Biden. He's an idiot, the worst president we've ever had in our lifetime by 100. But the GOP and Mitch McConnell's and Lindsey Graham's of the world are just as evil. Don't kid yourself. Don't let anybody tell you any different. I lean 5 degrees right because it's because of common sense. It's like Elon Musk said, I haven't moved. It's the other people on the crazies on the left that have moved into crazy land. And the truth of the matter is if I was political years ago, I would have been a Democrat because I believe in so many things, but everything they sell is a lie. They don't believe in anything they sell. And there's just too many phony people in the government, and I just call it out like everybody else does. The left is the left are just crazy people. Can't answer a phone yet. We're gonna open the phone lines in a minute, and we'll talk about everything. So that's what's going on for me. Let's see. We talked about the Robbi situation. We could have phone calls. We could talk about it some more. The elections are coming up now in, what are we on, the 15th now? So 19 days. I truly believe it's the most important election of our lifetime. If the Democrats keep control, they will push their radical agenda and there will be nothing left of the United States. And I do believe that wholeheartedly. I will never say that again the rest of my life, that this is the most important election of our lifetime. It seems like every year since I've been political, that's all they always say. Oh, this is the most consequential election of my lifetime. This is the most consequential election of our lifetime. And then I see what's going on in the world. And this is truly the most consequential election of our lifetime. So I do believe that it's very important to vote out the Democrats to stop Joe Biden's agenda that he's being forced to push through from his radical donors. That's just my opinion. It's not facts. I just truly believe that. And again, it's just, they just need to stop it from being pushed through. Yeah, exactly where she took a lie detector test. And so, listen, Nobody understands how close we are to the brink of a nuclear war with Russia. They're going to call me, oh, you're a Putin apologist. Sergei Lavrov hit it right on the nose. We didn't interfere when the U.S. went into Libya, killed 1 million people. We didn't interfere when they went into Afghanistan, killed 500,000 people. We didn't interfere when they went into Iraq, killed 1.8 million people, including 500,000 children. And all those places were tens of thousands of miles away from the U.S. They're interfering with a war where you have Ukraine on the border of Russia, fast-tracking their way into NATO. NATO is an alliance to be against Russia. They cannot have their border controlled by a nuclear-armed NATO. It's just the way it is. Do you think the U.S. would let Mexico, with all the crazy cartels, have nuclear weapons? You guys decide. All right. Let's open up the phone lines. Let's go.
The Mouthpiece.
If you'd like to take part in our phone call segment, you can give us a call at 702-329-0480. And if you're a snowflake or a pussy and you don't want to talk to me, you can email me at mouthpiecepodcast@gmail.com. Also, follow me at the Mouth Matiso on Twitter for times that our call-in segment will be live. 702-329-0480. Give me a call. We'll talk about whatever you want. Sports, Robbi, poker. Let's go. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. It's Mike.
Hey, Mikey. It's Drew from the Woodlands. How's it going?
What's up, buddy? How are you?
I know it's a little down. I know that technically speaking, and I'm saying it kind of facetiously and trying to be as humorous as I can say it, but if you give the country money and that country uses that money to then blow up a pipeline and destroy the environment, or gets a car and rides on the bridge and explodes it, well, then, surprise, you're now a state sponsor of terrorism. It took a long time for it to happen, but it finally did.
Oh, yeah, we are.
Now officially,
we are.
State sponsors of terrorism, and believe you me that China will be in front of the UN at some point saying, you know who should go on the list? You know who should go on the list?
Yeah.
Anyway, I like to bring this up.
Agree.
And we should be celebrating Mr. Daniel Negreanu and his return to small ball poker. Okay. I don't know.
I love it.
I think it's a glorious day.
It is.
Actually said he invented limping, or he established. Who's been talking about limping? Who's been being made fun of about limping?
Go ahead.
Who's been made fun of about? Is it Phil Hellmuth?
Yes.
One guy who has been earning millions of dollars, going heads up against all these GTO geniuses. On stream.
Tell it. Speech it. Preach it.
And he is now come out and said, I just got to return to my old style. He's mixing it.
Preach it, Daniel. Tell my caller. Tell my caller something, Daniel. You. Tell my caller. What do you think about Phil? Tell him. What is he good at?
Phil is the
source of happiness.
What is Phil good at, Danny?
I'm good at no limit hold'em.
There you go. Say it again.
Because I'm good at no limit hold'em.
There, exactly. So
so's Daniel.
So's
Daniel.
You have to. Let me let you in a little bit more. And I'm glad you touched on this. I do want to congratulate Daniel winning the Super High Roller Bowl. He played good. He called me the night before. They were at the final table, and he told me, going into day 2, that he's going to start limping every hand 100 big blinds deep, and they're not going to know what they're not going to know what to do, because the solvers don't analyze this, right? And I said to him, well, duh, me and Phil have only been saying this for 2 years, right? So what the funny part is even after he won it, okay, maybe I shouldn't say this, but he did call Phil on the phone and say, "Oh, you'd be proud of me how I played. I limped them
he
to
did.
death."
Cool.
Okay, and and I said to Daniel, I'm like, Phil's only been saying this for 2 years, and all you guys have done is destroy him. Well, Phil limps 30 big blinds deep. He never has 100 big blinds to limp deep. And I'm just thinking, okay, but if he did, he would still be limping. Okay, this is just, the thing is Phil has a lot of mechanical errors he makes playing poker. He'll never admit it, but if he fixes his mechanics, he'd be devastating. And
But he's the
I
greatest
watched
leader of people.
I watched
ever.
all of them. Okay, I watched all of them limp. They're limping aces. They're checking back aces. They're doing anything because nobody gives away chips. So they're trying any way they can to get chips. I watch them limp nines. Everybody limped every big hand. Nobody raised. And I'm thinking to myself, wow. When Phil Hellmuth did it, they called him a fucking idiot for 2 fucking years as he mashes everybody's face in. And now they're doing it. Now they don't want to, Daniel will never come publicly out and say,
Oh God.
hey, there's something to this limping thing. You know what I mean? That Phil was on. It's, because they don't ever want to give Phil any credit because that would take away their narrative that Phil sucks at poker. But in reality, there's 2 ways to balance, right? If you balance, you raise the same amount at all times when you're strong and you're weak. You raise. The solvers tell you raise this many X against this stack or 3X I did this, that. All right. Well, if you're limping every single hand, doesn't that balance your range? Right?
Oh, not to a GTO machine, but to another human, yes.
Okay.
But to a machine, no. But nobody's a machine when they're trying to remember the. Let me use the correct terminology. The buckets. Because, everything goes in a bucket, right? And not a chart. It's a bucket.
Right.
Bucket post flop on all the streets, post flop streets. It's all buckets. We all can memorize the buckets. And whoever memorizes the buckets gets closest to the GTO theorem.
They can all
not computers.
Let me tell you something. They can all fuck themselves. I know. I called down 17,000 yesterday with a fucking second pair no kicker. And fucking was sure I was good. I mean, I don't need a fucking bucket, a GTO, a solver, or anything to tell me, okay? If I play perfect the way I'm supposed to play, I've never looked at a chart, I've never looked at a solver, and I compete very fucking fine against everybody. Now, that's it, And I even told Daniel, I told Daniel too. Yeah, one thing I told Daniel I was very proud of him is I guess you forgot how good you are post flop, where you're sitting there ripping 20 big blinds with Jack, Queen, and diamonds because the solver says you have to rip 18 big blinds with it, when you could just play post flop. I mean, Daniel's a great post flop player, and he showed it, and he goes, it's not that I forgot. He goes, I just, this is how Daniel used to play like this all the time. And
one guy got real salty over it towards the end. I couldn't really understand. I don't know his facial expressions, but he was super salty looking. It came across super salty on the on TV.
The thing
I can understand why.
Is the way to attack people wanting to play small ball is you take them out of their comfort zone and you make them play big ball, okay? And everybody. And all the solver people are falling into a small ball style, which, it fits my style perfectly. It fits Phil and Daniel's style perfectly. Like somebody like Adamo, when he came around and smashed last year, he made everybody play big bet poker, which took them out of their comfort zone. Okay.
They called big bet poker Kill Phil. Remember that?
Yeah. That's what they used to call it. Remember, what's his name wrote the book called Kill Phil?
Yeah.
Yep, exactly.
He was, 60? He wrote the book Kill Phil?
Yeah.
He didn't have no computer.
Yeah.
He said Kill Phil.
Yep. I'm going to take some other calls, but yeah, man, I appreciate the call, and you're 100% right. Shout out to Daniel. He fucking really did play great. I give him fucking...
Keep it on and cheer up. I know they're trying to kill us. I get it. It's the weirdest thing ever. It's only 20-something days to the election. Everybody vote early. Early voting for me in Texas starts the 24th.
Vote red.
I'm
Honestly,
out of office.
I will never tell anybody on this show, and I lean right, the rest of my life, that you must go out and vote red this November.
You have to.
This is a very
You
must.
and I grew up.
Yes,
we grew up with the threat of nuclear Armageddon, and they brought back nuclear Armageddon. I mean, let me say one last thing. Anybody out there who thinks that the world, saving the planet, if you are typing green propaganda, green energy propaganda,
and you're not voting red
on a phone, you're not an environmentalist. The phone's polluted the planet.
Exactly.
You're not an environmentalist.
Well, everybody's brainwashed by the propaganda pushed through to their phones. When you have big tech censoring all points of view other than the mainstream media narrative, he's right. Their phones are all being polluted by toxic waste. Very important election. I'll never tell anybody. You can hold me to this. I will tell you, if you want, you could vote for president, the Republican, but this is very important. Very important to vote red this November, or we're in big trouble. Really is. Very important.
Hello.
What's up? Well, in the Mouthpiece.
Hey.
How you doing?
What's going on?
Not much, man. What are you up to?
Not much. Just hanging out.
Yeah.
Just chilling, but I appreciate the call.
You're welcome.
I follow you online and I have for a while, and I think you're an interesting character, and I think you're hilarious, and all is good. But I gotta ask you. I know for sure, maybe 7 to 10 years ago, long time ago from now, 2022, you stated online, Twitter or in a video or something, you were like 10-20 at the Bellagio, Vegas, like the 10-20, 20-40, no limit hold'em game. The days where you can make 150K, 200K, they're done, long gone, and you won't see them again.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So is that true? And I feel like just because the prevalence of social media now, and maybe it's just bullshit that you see these guys doing it and making all the money on a regular basis, like, are they just phony, or is it just you need to be the top 0.1%? What's the deal?
I think you need to be the top 0.1%. I don't think it's just too hard to make money in poker. I mean, I play mixed games, 4-800, from 1996 through 2019. That's all I did is play mixed games, even though I was a great no limit hold'em player. I was a great no limit hold'em tournament player. There really wasn't many good no limit hold'em cash games, and after 2006, 2007, they just got kind of tougher and tougher. At least that's what I thought. Now I'm playing straight no limit hold'em, and I feel like I'm just dominating. So, am I just in a soft game? I used to think it was soft, but I don't feel it's soft anymore. I think it's very hard. But I'm still winning, and I feel like I have control of where I'm at. So I do believe the best players in no limit hold'em win. There's a reason.
Right.
There's a reason why so many, and I'm not talking about tournaments. I'm just talking about cash. Okay.
Right.
Tournaments, you'll see one person go on a rush, and then another year, another person go on a rush. Another year, you don't see anybody. I mean, was it Donnie Peters is doing really good consistently. There's a lot of people winning, but how many are winning year after year after year? It's a good question.
Right.
I've watched so many go. To me, in the high roller circuit, the money just goes round and round and round because everybody plays great. You know what I mean? I like Daniel when he just told me he was going to limp. I told him I thought it was a great idea and I thought it would work, and it did, and they didn't know what to do, and it was and he did it to perfection. I mean, bravo, Daniel. I mean, give it credit where credit's due. He didn't just win by limping. He fucking dominated by limping. He had complete control of that final table at all times, never, ever relinquishing control of the table.
Right.
And he did it by fucking small balling him to death. And when you're playing for 300,000 buy-in, okay, that's what people don't understand. That's real money, okay, and so people don't want to play big bet poker because they're afraid of lose. They're just as afraid. You might not think they're afraid, but they are. Okay, they're afraid of playing a big pot and being knocked out. So they just all thought with their egos that they could just combat it. And they'd never seen Daniel limp before, and they didn't know what the fuck he was doing, and they were afraid to raise. And I mean, this will be very interesting, the adjustments that they make to that, because 90% of these guys are all GTO solver guys. You know, I don't know how many.
Can I ask your thoughts on one player and specifically, and in addition to that one player, a specific hand that he played against your buddy Daniel Negreanu?
Okay.
I want to know what you think about Michael Adamo's play in these super high rollers, and more specifically the ultra anti GTO play, if you will, when he flopped the not straight with 6-8 on a 5-7-9 board when Daniel had ace king and check flop checked.
That was one I argued with Daniel that it was one of the absolute worst mistakes he'd made. We argued, Daniel's very hard-headed in that, and he'll be, oh, no, the way Damo does, he bluffs all the time. Okay, good, he bluffs all the time. Let him fucking have it. It's 5 minutes into the fucking super high 300K buy-in, okay? It's 5 minutes in. Let him fucking have it. You have nothing in the pot, okay? And so with that said, it's just, I thought it was a terrible call, and he said no, and listen, I'm entitled to my opinion. He's entitled to his. I just say, hey, I know he does it all the time bluffing, but so what? Wait to let him get just trap him, Right. So just find a better spot. And but that was last year. I mean, let's go forward to this year. I mean, bravo to Daniel. If anybody who doesn't think that he was the best player in that tournament, or at least played the best, then I don't know what else to say. He ran the best and he played the best. That's a hell of a combination. Hell of a combination. When you sit there and you have pocket threes on an ace 4 deuce board, and you run out 3-3, which is a jackpot hand, 5 minutes into the tournament, and you don't win the tournament, it would be disappointing. But he did. Another thing about Daniel in this thing is I literally was buying $10,000 of him. I never talked about. I talked about this. Is I had a dream that he won this thing. And he said there's small pieces left, and I was going to buy $10K worth, because every time I've had a dream, before I ever took pot, which was in 2017, even though I've been 2.5 months off of pot now. So when I had the dream, I was thinking, wow, I mean, is Daniel really going to win this? And so I almost invested 10 grand. That would have got me 100,000. I didn't do it. I didn't do it, but it goes to tell you that my instincts and my intuition is back where it used to be, which is really impressive to me, because even playing in these live no limit games, I'm literally calling these people's cards out every single time. I know what their hands are, and that means that me getting off pot has allowed me to bring my game back to an even higher level, which I always thought I was playing really good the last couple of years anyways. So I'm pretty stoked about it.
Well, listen, I gotta ask you one more question, or sure. I want to comment on one other hand that, when I think of you, especially in more recent time, it really sticks out. And I think it was a fantastic play that just didn't happen to work out to your credit, to your credit. Yeah. And it was the main event that I watched in 2022. Now, I'm this guy, I forget the guy's name, but he had like a 9 or an 8 high flush on the river when the board paired.
I knew he had
You're playing super tight. Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know this guy's history, but I can tell you right now for sure, the line you took there, it's never a bluff.
Never a bluff. If it can never be a bluff, it's the right line to take. And the truth of the matter is the old Mike would have just folded and just gone back and grinded. But when he raised this, the first thing I said to myself after running the hand through, remember, I've been playing no limit hold'em every day for 2 years. So I'm like, this guy's got a small flush. I'm like, I just took the exact same line I did when I flopped quads, I did the exact same line I took when I had fives full. I said,
Right.
I go, I have no bluffs in my range here if I fucking pull this trigger. And I did it, you know, and I talked like 8 of the 9 people at the table said they would have folded my hand in less than a half a second. Right.
100%. It took a lot of heart.
And,
It did.
and what's funny is, and I like to say it, is I know that I'm back playing at a very high level, no limit hold'em again. And nobody believed I was back as I'm crushing for the last 2.5 years. And it took a suicide bluff in the main event for everybody to say, Mike, you're fucking back. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I had to lose. Me winning every day was no proof I was back. I had to fucking blow the main event on day 4 for everybody to say I'm back. And, which, listen, does it feel good for your poker peers to realize you're back playing at that high level? Sure it does, you know. But even the guy who made the great fold with the ace queen when the guy had quads or whatever it was, the guy who finished 13th.
Yeah.
He was at Diaz. He was at my table, and I was in line with him when he was cashing out. And he came up to me, fist pumped me, and said, "Mike, that was a great bluff." He goes, "I don't even know why it was taking so long to fold." He goes, "There was no doubt in my mind you had it. I just can't even believe that you got called there." So, you know, hey, I still am fine with it, and I'm playing good. You know, the hardest thing for me is, and people don't understand, is my pain that I deal with, and being able to go through 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of tournament poker. I mean, it's very hard on me. Like, I'm in a lot of pain right now, and I'm dealing.
Can you just take like some CBD? I know you said you're off pod or whatever, but does
listen,
CBD help you?
I mean, I take pain pills, I take muscle relaxants.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm dealing with another disc that's pressing on my spinal cord, the one that they told me in 2 years I would have to have surgery, that surgery again, or I had to learn how to walk again. And that was in 2017. They said I was going to have it, and now we're 5 years later, and I haven't had to have it. So I worry whenever I'm in this type of pain down my legs and in my and just all over my lower body that, oh my God, you know, is it time for surgery or not? So I do start to stress a little bit. But, you know, listen, when my documentary comes out in a few months, everybody's going to understand what I go through. So you guys will enjoy it. It'll be on one of the streaming sessions. All right, man, I'm going to take another call.
All the best to you. Thanks.
Take care, my friend. Later.
Later.
All right. Yeah, so, you know, listen.
Your call has been...
It's so funny that so many people, like I said, I needed a suicide punt to get my for people to say, "Oh, Mike's so great," you know, whatever. You know, I don't need anybody's acknowledgement. I don't need people to analyze my game and tell me if I'm good or bad. Poker's about making money. If you win the money, you're great. If you don't win money, you suck. That's it. That's it. Poker's not about playing the best players in the world. It's about playing the people that you're better than. If you're one of the top 3 players in the game at all times, you're going to win money. If you're not, you're going to lose money. That's the bottom line. That is what poker is. Poker is who can get into the private games. That's what poker is. You know, so many of the top players can't even make a living playing poker. They can't get into the private games. And they're shut out because they're so good. How do they know they're so good? Well, they fucking put themselves on high rollers and high stakes, and everybody sees how good they are. I don't want anybody to know I'm good. I want everybody to think I suck. This way I can keep getting invited into private games. So, anyways, that's what's going on. 702-329-0480. I am definitely playing 3 games this week. I'm taking Arizona, Buffalo, and Dallas.
Hello,
Welcome to Mouthpiece. This is Mike.
Mike. What's
up,
up, buddy?
buddy?
How you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Good. Loving the show. I just had a question for you about this Robbi thing, man. I wanted to see if I could pick your brain.
Sure.
So I've been thinking about this, and I'm not swaying one way or the other.
Mm-hmm.
If she was really cheating,
Mm-hmm.
she made the call on the turn after the turn was revealed,
Mm-hmm.
knowing that she had Jack High, which may have been good. There's still a river card to come.
Correct.
With that much money, is it possible, do you think, in all your experience, that she would choose that hand
Well,
to make the call?
first of all, she acts so ditzy and stupid. Okay, what better person to be the deliverer of a cheating scandal than somebody that looks like they don't know what they're doing? Think about that. They're going to make ridiculous calls because they don't know what they're doing, and there's so many other hands and questions. Again, I am a real believer in the Constitution of you're innocent until proven guilty. Okay. But the more she talks, the more guilty she became. If she just would have let it go and just not, she's an attention whore. She's a fucking narcissist, okay? And when you want, and you crave the attention and crave it and crave it and crave it, you're going to make mistakes. And I do not believe, it's just like Alan Kessler wrote, because I've seen that Forensic Files, the lady with the letter, when she wrote anti-free instead of anti-freeze, okay? I don't know, how old are you, sir?
43.
43. In 43 years of your life, have you ever heard or seen anybody put in a sentence, wouldn't not?
Yeah, I have not.
Okay,
Can't
okay.
say that I have.
And now you want me to believe the 2 people that people believed are involved happened to write a tweet and a message to each other and both used the word wouldn't not. Okay? Now, if she was to come out and say, I know I was innocent. This guy Brian knows I was innocent, so I direct DM'd him to come out to say that I'm innocent. And I told him what to say, and I wrote the letter, but I'm still innocent. Well, then, you know what? I'd open it back up to innocent. Okay? But then you have to ask yourself, why would she do that with a guy that stole $15,000 from her that she's never met? Okay? Now you have to also, she's never met this person, but she follows him on Twitter. Like, how is she following an employee on Twitter that nobody knows? Okay, I'm just trying to say, these are just massive circumstantial evidence, okay? Not counting the fact that anybody, all the people I know that are the best card readers in the world, all say she's guilty. Because if you look at the reaction before she calls and after she calls, she looks like she's being told to call and has no idea why she's being told to call. When she then calls and wins both boards, she doesn't act like, oh my God, I made this stupid call. I can't even believe. She looked like she knew she had the best hand. And, then people were telling me, well, she was embarrassed. She might have misread her hand. And I bought into that. And I switched 36 hours after I said 100% guilty the first day to 85% not guilty, right? But the more she talked and the more things she did to try and exonerate herself, the more, it's kind of like when you go to an FBI, right? They bring you in, hey, Mr. So-and-so, I don't know if you know why you're here. Your ex-wife was murdered. What's your alibi? And then they get them talking for 12 hours, right? And these people are professionals. I guarantee if you get like an FBI interrogator specialist, he will come to the conclusion that she's guilty. I mean, she just keeps hanging herself more and more. And I just don't believe that that can be a coincidence. There's lots of other things that could be coincidences. And I was happy to say, give her the benefit of the doubt, which I did 36 hours after this happened, on my show last week before this message came out. If you'd listened, I still said I was leaning innocent. I don't know if you heard the show last week. But then,
I did.
Then when the message, I read the message that she wrote online, and the message just sounds fake, okay? But you got to remember, tweets and text, many people, it comes across different, and you could interpret it differently than how they're actually writing it. So even that, I didn't really want to convict her for. But when they put those two words, wouldn't not, in both of those things, I am sorry. This is something, I mean, I have a friend who's a lawyer, and, you know, he's not really much a poker player, but he knows a little bit about poker. And he said if they had to try this based on circumstantial evidence, that she'd be found guilty. So is it coincidences? Are all these little things coincidences? You know, everybody wants to believe her that she's innocent. But she went from, I owned you, I thought you had ace high, which she called with jack high. Then she all the different spins and lies. Then when it took her like 8 hours later to say she misread her hand, that she had jack 3 the hand before. And then she just, now when I came out, I think 2 weeks ago, and said she was like under the influence of something, or drunk, or on some kind of pills or something, now she comes out and says she was fucked up. You know, why didn't she say that 2.5 weeks ago? In other words, as everybody tries to make excuses for her, then she takes that line and then goes forward with it. Is that, you know, a fair way of saying? Now, once again, I'm not a fucking attention whore, and I didn't run a podcast every week to look like a circus and try and make her innocent or guilty, and I'm not trying to degrade Joey Ingram one center at all. I thought he did a very good job, by the way. But, you know, the more you hear, you know, it's a more, you know, listen, it's, you know, oh, she passed the polygraph test, big deal. I told you, I failed mine, and I was 1,000% telling the truth, right?
Right.
You know, like the one guy they said, the mass murderer, Ted Bundy, he passed every polygraph test. Okay, so what does it mean? It doesn't mean anything. Sociopaths pass polygraph test, you know. But I'll tell you what, and I'll say it online here, and anybody that's listening, if Robbi wants to go to a person who matches letters and a person who an FBI person that actually can get a feel whether they're telling the truth or not, more of that the letters, because I have a guy put a video. I'm gonna actually put it on my Twitter tonight. That's the guy sent me, that just shows all the similarities in that message from Brian to her, and to all the things that she says. She uses the same words. It's just the same person. It is 100% the same person. And if she doesn't want to say, if she wants to insist it's not, then I'm going to insist she's guilty. If she wants to come forward and say that, yeah, you know, I just wanted my name clear because I'm innocent, and I wanted him to write something nice, and I told him what to write. Okay, then you could say, well, why is she doing that? But hey, that's believable. There's just no way I'm ever going to believe that tweet and that message wasn't written by the same person. There's just no way.
Yeah,
I don't believe it.
I think there's just too much inconsistency.
Right.
Outside of just that.
The
one
hand, you got to
thing.
take the hand out of the equation. I don't give a, the hand is meaningless in this case.
Right.
It really is.
Right.
You know,
It's too much action. Right.
it's the actions on other hands. It's the consistencies and the inconsistencies. You see what I'm trying to say?
Right.
And after
man.
the hand was done, the so many inconsistencies are not anybody like everybody in poker knows that I am one of the most honorable people in poker. You know, even when I owed everybody a lot of money, you know, most of them got paid. I still owe a little bit, but they know that I'm a very good person. I would never lie. I would cheat or anything. It's like if somebody was killed tomorrow and the FBI came and arrested me for murder, everybody in the poker world who knows me knows that I'm being framed because it could never happen. I could never kill anybody. Okay. It's just not possible. Okay. So everybody's going to go to bat for me. They know that I'm an honest person. The fact that so many things that were said that are just spun and spun and spun and spun and spun and spun, it's just, you know, it's like Nick said, you know, it's like whether she's innocent or guilty, because they really don't know. The way she's acting, I mean, she's a sociopath, man. She's an attention fucking seeking sociopath. And
yeah. Well, I hope I never see her on TV or watch her play poker.
I mean, neither.
Yeah,
but,
it's a so.
You know, she's getting turned on by fame. You're 100% right, Hannah. It's like a drug. Okay, I get it. When Full Tilt first blew up, and we were so big, and we were going across in Europe, and everywhere we went, everybody knew who we are. And we were on commercials in the back of taxi cabs in London. We went to Germany, 100,000 people. It was like a rock concert. And when I remember how weird it felt, but how satisfying it felt. Now, I'm not one of those people who's an attention-seeking person, but it felt good. So I do understand what Hannah wrote in the chat just now is you get turned on by fame. When you've never had it, you're 38 years old. She's a pretty good-looking woman. I mean, let's put it, you know. And she has this. She's craving this attention. She just, to her, it's like an ego thing. And she, you know, to me, it's a sickness. And I think she's hung herself many a times. And I even made called and texted a few people that I respect that have been involved in this investigation. They've been on Joey's podcast a lot. And I said, is there any chance this woman's innocent? And I got out of all three of them, 2%. So they're at 98% guilty. And so that's it. Yeah, we're gonna go back.
Well, Mike,
so that's it.
Yeah, I'll leave you with this, man. You know, when the pandemic first started, your home games, I started playing your home games. They were great, and I just wanted to say thank you for that. Also, you took it above and beyond, man. You did the Zoom calls with all the players.
Yep.
So I just wanted to tip my hat, man.
You're welcome.
Thanks for doing that.
You know, we still got
Appreciate
the home game still. The home game's still going. Where you know,
yes, they are.
You know,
Yes,
some days we don't have games. But listen, I keep the room open. I try and come in as many times as I can. It's hard for me because I'm just so busy. But I think I played a couple hours this week. So yeah, I appreciate you very much.
No,
and thanks for playing the home game.
I love that, man. Thank you again. And you know, I'm gonna call him back soon.
You got
Thanks,
it,
Mike.
man. Take care.
All right.
Anybody wants to still play in my home game? Email mouthpoker@yahoo.com. Mouthpoker@yahoo.com. $250 in chips for 200. 1-2 PLO, 1-2 no limit hold'em every day. It's a lot of fun. Daniel winning $3 million is a big deal. It's something that should be talked about. I wanted to have Daniel on the podcast today. Daniel is in Korea right now, doing some negotiations with GG Poker about some things. So he'll be back at the end of the week. I'm going to see if I can get him on here next week to talk about his super high roller bowl win. I really believe that he played fantastic. And, you know, the only thing I didn't like, and I told him, is he wants to take all the credit for limping. And then I text him, I go, when Phil limped for 2 years, you guys never gave him any credit. And Phil kept always saying, oh, when Daniel played Doug Polk head up, well, why wasn't he just limping every hand? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, man. Phil believes he would beat Doug. I don't think he would. But the people who don't think that she cheated are people that want to find good in the world. I mean, I want to find good in the world. I want to believe she didn't cheat it. I really do. I wanted to believe it so much that I had 3 people convince me 36 hours after I came out that she cheated, that she didn't. But the evidence is just there. And I'll put out what I put out on a tweet to Garrett. I think the poker world owes Garrett an apology. I think that he put his reputation of 20 years in the poker world on the line to come out with a cheating allegation like this, knowing that he was going to get massive heat. And all the things that have come forward makes it more look like she cheated. I agree with you, Kirk. You need to prove she cheated. Until then, she is innocent. Okay? Let's have a handwriting expert compare those 2 tweets. If a handwriting expert says they cannot conclusively say, or that it's more likely that they were written by the same person, if they say that it's least likely that they were written by the same person, I'll go back to the side of innocent. But I know those 2 messages were written by the same person. And if they weren't cheating together, why are they talking? You guys gotta come up with that answer. Why were they talking if they weren't in on it together? There's just no chance. I want anybody in my chat or listening to the podcast right now to call me if they've ever heard one person use in a sentence wouldn't not. Welcome to the Mouthpiece. This is Mike. What's up?
Mikey?
What's going on, my man?
Gypsy. Shit, what's happening, man? How you been?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Pretty good. Can't complain. I had a couple questions for you about PLO.
Mm-hmm.
So I just started playing PLO recently online. I got invited to a game. It's 2-4 with an $8 straddle.
Nice.
Not everyone straddles. It's in line.
You can make real money in that game. You could make fucking $10,000 a week in a game that size easily.
Bro, so the last month and a half, I'm up 31,000 on it. Somebody built up, so the max buy-in is 600 at a time, 200 big blinds.
Oh, I play a 3-6-12 half hold'em PLO, and you can buy in for 6,000. So that's a really juicy game.
That's pretty deep. That changes the dynamic.
Oh, absolutely.
There's one maniac player. His VPIP over like 50,000 hands is like 82%. So what he does is just repot. So he'll pot every situation pre-flop, and he's competent though, which makes it tough. So like he's understanding blockers in certain spots. If you 4-bet him with your bigger pairs on flops that don't favor your holdings, he's going to put you to the test. So it's pretty tough to play against. Yeah. Especially when you get super deep.
Well, you should always you should always be flatting in position. You should always be min raising in position, and you should be balanced between your raising and your 3-bet hands.
For sure. Like I've been 4-betting, so at first I didn't realize what was going on. I was 4-betting my aces out of position and shit.
Cannot do that. If you 4-bet aces out of position, okay, or if you're only 3-betting aces, you turn your hand face up, and they will take every pot. They'll play 80% of your pots from you. You never re-raise aces. Yeah, you never re-raise bad aces out of position, and if you're raising when you're raising deep good aces out of position, you also need to be raising and 3-betting all your 8, 9, 10 jacks. So you need to balance.
For sure. I think the most trouble, so like I have like 15,000 hands logged, and before that I probably have 1,500, 2,000 hands of PLO, history my whole life. But I've played no limit hold'em for 20 years. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty. I understand pretty good.
Yeah.
On hold'em.
Well, it's the same thing. You have to balance. In no limit hold'em, you 3-bet ace kings, you 3-bet ace queens, you 3-bet the 9-10 suited and the 8-9 suited. It's like 25% of the time. It's the same thing. Just like in PLO, ace king queen 5, ace king queen deuce, ace king queen 3, double suited with the ace suited is always a 3-bet hand. You know what I'm saying? Where ace queen jack is not, because ace king is just as big in PLO as it is in no limit hold'em. So that,
right? Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
that makes sense a lot. I've been having an issue with. I think I'm playing too loose in and out of position with my low run-ups, like 4, 5, 6, 7.
Can't play those hands out of position. You cannot defend the blinds out of the small blind with like the 3, 4, 5, 6, 4, 5, 6, 7. Those are just death hands. Okay, you really want to be. You want to be 5, 6, 7, 8, or you want to be. Let's just go raise 2 callers. Then you're on the button 3, 4, 5, 6 because those cards are pretty live. But then you got to be careful about the 7, 8 straight. So, when you're calling with the 3, 4, 5, 6s, that board needs to come ace deuce. If it's raised in 2 callers, ace is usually dead. You see what I'm saying? You have to always see, where the deuces and threes are.
Yes, that makes a lot of sense.
The deuces and threes are
because a lot of times I'll flop the joint or whatever, and then obviously that's not the best hand.
But the money has to involve the ace. You see what I'm saying? It's just like when I play Omaha 8 or better, right? You don't play deuce 3, 4, 5 if it goes raise in 2 callers because the aces are dead. It's an ace dependent hand, okay?
Right.
But if it goes raise call and you're on the button with 2, 3, 4, 5 in PLO, I mean, an ace hits this board with a wheel card. I mean, you could really do damage. So you don't want to play those low connected wraps out of position. If you do play them, you want to play them in position where you're pretty certain an ace is live. Because if it goes under the gun raise and 2 callers, the 2 callers are usually 7, 8, 9, 10, 9, 10, jack, queen in that area. The under the gun raiser usually has an ace involved. Usually the callers don't have an ace involved. Again, the low wraps, they have to involve a money card or you just can't get paid. So, yeah, you're just playing them too much. I agree.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense because my VPIB over 15,000 hands is at like 58, 59%, which a lot of that is because I'm playing a lot more hands than I should be against this maniac. But like I said, he's super competent.
You're playing him? You're playing head up?
No, we're playing 6 max.
6 max. That's still a pretty fucking big VPIP,
Yeah, no shit. But
no,
like
you got to tighten up.
confident
You got to lower that VPIP to around 30. I think that's a little 30,
listen
33.
to what he's doing in scenarios which I thought was super horrible to start out with. Then I realized like this guy actually knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So like in a 2-300 big blind spot where he gets 4-bet pre-flop, if he flops any pair and he's putting the other guy on aces, he's getting it in there trying to pair one of his other cards for.
Well, he's like even money. You know what I'm saying? With backdoor straights
exactly.
and backdoor flushes.
I thought that was super horrible at first, but then I ran the numbers on it. And I'm like, wow, this guy's actually not that much of a moron.
The key to PLO is deception. The key to PLO 8 or better is deception. The key to all poker is deception. Let's be honest. Okay? Even in no limit hold'em, when you don't have it, you have to tell a story like you have it. When you have it, you have to tell a story that you might not have it. It's all about deception. Poker is all about telling the correct story, and if the story doesn't make sense, then you call. If the story makes sense, you fold. So that's just it, And all the big calls.
That makes a lot of sense.
All the big calls.
And
I
didn't realize how important blockers were in PLO. My goodness.
Oh my God! I mean, I make fun of people for blockers and hold'em, like because I call it blockers for dummies. But in PLO, blockers are everything. are the most
like
so
having
important.
a fucking ace of diamonds in a spot that there's 3 diamonds on the board allows you to do so much shit. Having blockers to a straight allows you to do so much stuff.
I mean, yeah. I mean, if they're just think how many times they have to call you down and hope you have the dry ace, right? And
right, exactly. But what that's allowed me to do to adapt in my game is I'm not folding second nuts like king high flushes as often. And
well, you just got to know your players. You just got to know your players. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
you just
exactly.
got to again, and you have to feel. Okay, like you know how many times like at PLO I've had the second nuts and I feel the way because I play with them a lot. Just the way the snap bet went in there, or he bet it a little quicker than he normally does, or
that it's a blocker and not the nuts.
And you just feel it. Listen, I can't explain people when I say that they think I'm crazy.
Timing tells come in a lot with that shit because he's actually trying to get you off your hand, not looking for value.
And you just feel it. Like all the best players feel it. Their instincts scream. Okay, that's why. Like I said, Sean Deeb is one of the best instinct poker player in the world. He's a once in a generation talent. If you don't like him, I don't give a fuck.
For sure.
Okay. Like he said, follow your instincts, Mike. Your instincts are telling you she cheated. She fucking cheated, okay? I mean, that's it. Your instincts are always right. And and that's why I stood where I am. So anyway.
Well, I want to share this one last thing. My family in the car, I got the baby in the background or whatever. It's making noise, so I won't take a lot of your time. But so having this score allowed me to take some shots at some bigger games that
I like it.
Here local, there's a 5-5-25, but it plays like 25-50 at times.
Good.
Super deep. So I took some shots at it, and playing PLO recently has allowed me to, like I said, take shots at this game and paying more attention in No Limit. When I wasn't as much, I would kind of just, go on coast and play ABC poker. But now I went above my comfort zone, and I'm playing my A game instead of just playing a C game all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It made me realize that fucking bigger games are not as tough as I always thought.
No, they're not.
This game has
I'm gonna get you in on something.
You're playing, it's getting easier.
Let me let you in on something. The higher you play, the softer the game. Okay.
Like I can't beat 5-10 at the casino, but
because 5-10 is all the best players grinding for a living. Okay, all the 100%. Fucking big games are people who have infinite money that don't give a fuck. Okay, this is a rule of thumb 100%. Since the day I fucking played poker, and the 2 years after I became a pro in 1998, I realized the higher you play, the worse they play. Okay, so if I had somebody to back me in some of these big fucking stream games, oh my God, what would I do to the poker world?
Yeah, like if you were in Garrett's position, he's just printing money.
Printing, because you know why he can't lose? Because everybody buys in for 100,000 and he's got 500 on the table at all times. He can get stacked two in a row. 100%. He can get stacked 2 in a row, then he'll put 600 on the table. They have to fucking stack them 3 times for him to lose. That's not counting all the small pots he picks up. That's why every one of these streams should have a cap of what the buy-ins should be in. Okay? That's why every fucking, up until 2011, every fucking online game and every game in all the casinos had 100 big blind cap. There's a reason they had that. It protects the fucking other players. Absolutely. And it evens out the playing field. If you're going to let the best player in the game cover everybody at all times, the best player in the game is going to win.
The biggest win rate.
He's going to have the biggest win rate, and he's going. And if he has no fear of money, he's going to demolish the game. That's just a fact. That's why I'm against all these re-entry fucking poker tournaments and all these max late reg poker tournaments where they can max late reg with 30 bigs and just rip it all in, and all of a sudden they go double, and they're the chip leader of the tournament for the other guy who played 8 hours. I mean.
Yeah, shit.
Anyways.
Yeah, like giving Sean Deeb, giving people like that 5-6 bullets at a tournament is
exactly.
Like suicide.
It's disgusting. It's horrible. So, anyways, let me see if I can take another call, and I'm gonna get out of here, and I appreciate you calling.
Brother. Take care.
Thanks for calling. All righty.
Bye.
So 702-329-0480. We'll take in one more call. Listen, the world is in very bad shape right now. it's imperative, anybody out there, to go vote, to make sure you vote and you vote red. Biden must be stopped. His radical agenda needs to be stopped. The craziness, the gas prices, the inflation, he's brain dead. He's fucking going to get us in a nuclear fucking war. He's a dementia patient. Anyways, don't say I didn't tell you. I didn't want to vote for Trump. I told you why I had to. I told you they hid the guy for a year. They put these commercials out while the guy was, he didn't even campaign. He was in his basement because he can't put two sentences together. All the conspiracy theories about the vaccine everything ends up being truthfully. The masks come out worthless. I told you they were worthless. Everything I ever said was a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy. It is what it is.
Okay. This guy is trying to call, but I think I'm trying to call him back at the same time.
Well, why don't you let him call then?
I'm going to try that.
Yeah. The fake news media, they block everything. They all come out and they say what they want you to believe. And once you come to a conclusion that the media is corrupt, which you will if you're a smart person, then you'll realize what's going on in the world. If you watch MSNBC and CNN and then you repeat their talking points, that means you don't think for yourself and you don't know what's going on. I promise you, anybody that says to themselves, maybe Mike's right, let me do my due diligence and read what's going on, they will come to the realization that the media is fake and everything they say is a lie to spin a narrative. And then they brainwash you by putting their narrative into your timelines on your phones, on your Twitter, on your Facebook. And that's what's being done. And so I just ask everybody, you don't need to believe what I say. Go out and think for yourself, and you'll come to the truth. That's all. See if we get this one more caller, and we'll go with that. My game of the week, I'm really big on 3 games this week. I'm sticking with Arizona. I'm convinced the Seattle team is the worst defense in the league. I mean, they gave up 45 to Detroit that was missing their 4 skilled players. They gave up 29 to New England with a third-string quarterback. Detroit did. And Detroit got 0 on New England. Got 45 on Seattle. Arizona's putting up 30. Maybe 33, maybe 35. I mean, if Seattle could outscore them, they'll win. I'll be taking Arizona minus 2.5 this week. And I like Dallas plus 6. I mean, it's 6.5 in some places. I don't think people realize this is the best Dallas Cowboy defense of my lifetime. This defense is better than the Dallas defense that won 3 Super Bowls. You know, they need Dak and they need the offense to roll. But this, as Tony Romo said online 2 weeks ago, if he had this defense, he'd have 3 Super Bowl titles. Are the Dodgers really down? You guys, what's the score? I'm a diehard Dodger fan. I just saw Deanna write, bye-bye Dodgers. What's the score? Give me a score, guys. Give me a score. Give me a score. Brandon, please. I ask you, I like you a lot. I think you're a really good person. Just do some research, please. Please, that's all I ask. Oh, it's only 1-0. You guys are acting like bye-bye Dodgers. Fucking Dodgers are going to score 5 or 6 tonight. Give me a break. Fuck, you guys have me fucking so worried, you know. Let's see what else is going on in the world. What do you guys think of?
Dude, I think our phone lines are fucked.
What do you guys think of the Kanye West interview last week on Tucker? That was pretty unbelievable. You know, I don't like the comment he made. You know, I think that he's not anti-Jewish, but it was a very thing I didn't really like. But, you know, just because I don't like that, something like that, and I think it's bad, doesn't mean that everything else Kanye was saying wasn't true, because it was. You know, and he threw fucking Jared Kushner under the bus, and I agree with everything he said about Jared Kushner. And they want to paint it out to, oh, he just hates Jewish people. No, he's just telling the truth. You know, Kanye will get suicided, 100%. Somebody will kill him because he is against the narrative. The narrative. I mean, can you imagine white lives matter is now racist? So Asian lives can matter, black lives can matter, but if white lives matter, you're a racist bigot. Okay, this is really the world I want to live in. Fuck, even Brandon wouldn't want to live in this world. I mean, you know, there's racism on both sides, you know? Zelensky's the most corrupt motherfucking politician in the world. You're welcome. He is a cokehead. He's the male version of Robbi Jade Lew. Just wants all the attention. Like, really, his country's at war. And meanwhile, he's on all the talk shows being a celebrity. Go fuck yourself. Give me a break. Fucking Ukraine's the third most corrupt country in the world. You know? Trump had all the dirt on the whole Ukraine situation. That's why they had to get him out, so they could start this proxy war. You guys got to look into what is actually going on. Fucking Jared Kushner's a piece of shit, Brandon. I'm not backing him. What does that have to do with anything? That doesn't mean anything, you know. And Trump's not the greatest human being in the world himself, but he cares. And all they gave a fuck. All they care about was, all they really give a fuck about was their little fucking proxy war and their money making fucking. Can he win in 2024? He will win in 2024. I don't want him to win in 2024. I would fucking. You don't even know what I would do to fucking have DeSantis fucking win the nomination. But yeah, okay, Brandon. And who told you that? The media? Do you know that for a fact? Exactly. The media will tell you whatever they want. What happened to the, by the way, what happened to Trump stole nuclear codes? Oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Nuclear codes. They love throwing the nuclear around to scare everybody. Trump stole the nuclear codes. There's going to be a nuclear Armageddon. We're all going to die. Okay? Truth of the matter is, we would. Exactly. Everything that Trump said has come true. Like almost everything he said has come true. So, yeah, he might be a horrible human being. Okay? But if you think Biden's any better, I mean, this guy they got on corruption charges. They literally got the corruption on him. With Trump, they're trying to find something. They can never find it. I don't want to talk about politics. It's fucking depressing. Anyways, I have 3 games I like. I mean, I like Buffalo. I mean, they're getting their defensive players back. They want this game bad. I like Buffalo. It's a road favorite. I like Arizona as a road favorite. I like Dallas as a home dog, as a road dog. That's where I sit this week. The Yankees suck. The Yankees are going nowhere. The only one that can hit is Judge, and he's 0 for the fucking world. They ain't winning shit if he can't hit. Yeah, Tulsi, just because Tulsi left the Democrat Party doesn't mean that she didn't join the Republican Party. You know, she's an independent thinker, independent person. You know, she knows the Republicans are just as corrupt, you know. Anyways, you know, that's it for the week. We're going to come back next week, Thursday, Friday, talk NFL. I'll tell you how my poker week's going. I'm playing every day, trying to win. I'm going to go down probably to LA in a couple weeks and play on the Hustler stream and have a lot of fun. I'll let you guys keep you guys under the loop. I got Arizona as my top pick this week. I picked 4 weeks in a row as my top pick. Hope I'm right. I don't know, man. The line's real short. These short lines scare me, but we'll see. All right, we'll talk to you guys later.
The Mouthpiece.